In today's real estate exam prep video, we're going to continue our series on key vocabulary words you have to know for your real estate exam, and we are starting right now. Hey everyone, my name is Paul Vojchehoske, and welcome to the Real Estate Classroom YouTube channel, where our mission is simple: to help you pass your real estate exam the first time. And to do that, it's really important you understand these vocabulary words that we've been talking about in these videos. Today we're going to discuss vocabulary words number 55 through 61 of 300. So let's get to it. Number 55, voluntary alienation. I'm sure you've already discussed this in your pre-licensing class, but voluntary alienation is an unforced or voluntary conveyance of title. That means voluntarily transferring ownership to someone else. Now, there are a couple of different ways that this happens. Number one is by purchase. Buyer and seller agree buyer agrees to purchase the property, seller agrees to sell it, and then the seller voluntarily transfers title to the buyer. Another way is through gift. Maybe a father is going to gift a home that they own to a child. That's another way of voluntary alienation. Another way is by will or descent. So if someone dies with a will, they leave their real estate to somebody, and so that is voluntarily transferring title to somebody. The next way is descent, and we're going to talk about that in a minute here in this video. Now, let's look at number 56. Testate. When somebody dies testate, they have died with a will. And if they own real property, in their will, they're going to determine through the will who gets what piece of property. Very important, because if somebody dies testate and they're willing their real property to somebody, that is a form of voluntary alienation. Now, number 57, intestate. If somebody dies without a will, that means they have died intestate. They don't have a will. That's what it means. However, they still have property. They still have real property, and that's going to go to their heirs. We're going to talk more about that in just a minute. Number 58, there is a term called probate. It's a legal process that you have to know about, and it does one of a couple of things. The first thing is it's a legal process where if somebody has a will and someone is contesting the will, or they're not sure if it's a valid will, then they're going to open up probate, and a judge is going to determine whether that will is valid and authentic. That's probate. Another use for probate is where it's an administration of a deceased person's estate who has died without a will. So if somebody dies without a will, they have died intestate. Usually it's a family member or an heir that's going to open up probate, and then what's going to happen is the judge is going to determine who the executor or the personal representative of that estate's going to be. Now, remember from a previous video, if somebody dies without a will, they've died intestate, and they have no heirs, then it's going to be that state or that county government that's going to move forward to open up probate, and ultimately they will be the personal representative or the executor of the estate. And then ultimately, through the process of Escheat, another key word that we discussed in a previous video, the government's going to end up with that person's liquidated estate. Number 59, remember here a few minutes ago in this video, I said if somebody dies intestate, they have died without a will. So that means that their real property and the rest of their estate is going to be determined by descent. Descent is where we transfer real or personal property or someone's estate to their descendants. So that means it's going to go to their kids and then their grandkids. Now, this is determined specifically and individually by each state. So for example, here in Nebraska, where I'm located, if somebody were to die intestate, they've died without a will, we open up probate, and somebody is declared the executor of an estate or the personal representative. Well, the property is going to pass to the descendants first. If there's no descendants, so maybe this person had no kids, no grandkids, then it, under state law, it goes up. So it's going to go to parents and grandparents. And if there's no parents or grandparents, then it goes lateral. So it would go to brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and cousins. If there are no heirs, remember, if somebody dies intestate, meaning they've died without a will and there's no heirs, then through the process of escheat, then the state ends up with that person's estate. All right, numbers 60 and 61. There are two terms called a devise and the devisee. If someone dies with a will, they have died testate, and they've left real property to somebody. That property that's in the will is called the devise. The person that's receiving the devise is called the devisee. Right? Two terms that you really have to remember because the licensing exam loves to ask about those. If you're going to continue studying, check out this video right here. If you have not subscribed to the channel, click the little circle to my left. Comments and questions down below. That's all I got. I'll see you all in the next video.